All right. Welcome to About the Albums once again. Or if this is your first About the Albums that you've seen for some reason, welcome for the first time to About the Albums. Today we're talking about the album Ugly Fuck. This one originally came out in October of 2013. I'm actually recording this About the Albums episode, video, edition, whatever. I keep calling it an episode, not really episodic, really, but kind of, because I mention whatever. This one is actually being recorded in October of 2020, so that's like 7 years. I don't know exactly the days these are recorded, so it's like 7 years, not necessarily exactly 7 years, but it's similar to that, in that it's at least close, if not actually exactly that. Who can say for sure? Not me. And if not me, then no one. That would be interesting, though. That would be good to have in a show where I talk about, interesting stuff about these albums. But I don't really have that information on me, so I don't have interesting things to say a lot of the time. But I'm trying. Anyways, there's not a whole lot to preface this with, really, other than there are more songs. And I think a lot of these were coming out of a place of, I think I kind of mentioned before, I was having kind of like relationship problems, I guess, with my girlfriend at the time. So it was weird. I was, I was dealing with that and, having good days and bad days with that, along with my own head. So it's a lot of that, and you'll see a lot of that here. So sorry if that's weird and uncomfortable, but I mean that's relationships, am I right? If you think I'm right, you hit the like button. If you think I'm not right, hit the dislike button. That's good for engagement, I guess. Does anyone actually do that? I don't know. Probably not. Judging by the fact that these don't get tons of views necessarily either. Probably not. But maybe. Or maybe someone was going to hit like, and then I said that and they disagreed with that, and so they're like, well, I wanted to hit like because I like the video, but you made it all about this thing, so now I have to hit dislike, and I've just fucked over my own rating system. We'll see what happens. But let's just get into Ugly Fuck already, because, hey, that's me.
Straight ahead, run from the living dead.
Run from the Living Dead is a song that kicks off the album in a nice Halloween spirit, I suppose. Was probably what I was going for here, is about, running from the living dead, zombies and whatnot. Things that want to eat your brains and kill you and make you, dead. Maybe I'll turn you into the living dead too, the undead. Whatever term, I don't know what's appropriate to say these days. I might get my video removed from YouTube because you said the living dead. That's offensive. They prefer to be called living impaired. Calling them undead is a slur, but no one watches anyway, so it's fine. And I really like the guitar tone with the synth and overlapped on each other as the layer of that sounds really cool. I like the sound that kind of created with that combination of tones. It's also the cool thing with the bells and the kind of slightly off key wavery synth string. That thing was its own tone of those put together, a preset tone. But I like that kind of in the background, some of kind of off sounding bells happening, and that those strings underlying stuff it just sounds really cool. Especially at the end you can hear it sustaining. I don't know, that. Just some cool neat little riffs, along with some solid tones that I found that I really like. I think it came together pretty well. having the effect on my voice, while it did kind of deafen the music a bit somewhat on the old like balancing stuff of like the camera and that microphone, I still think it came out pretty good. Especially considering it could have been really rough. I think yeah, I like it. It's a neat song. It's good enough to start the album with, because probably was one of the first ones I did for it. I'm guessing, maybe not, but I'm guessing. And I don't remember if I ever used it in like a Halloween project or not. I may have, but I might not have. I actually don't remember. But that's Run from the Living Dead, and also hopefully the sounds on my stomach won't be too loud through this one, that running thing, because it just likes to, whenever I want to record something, that's when my stomach decides, let's make really loud, weird noises, even though you're not hungry, you're not sick, you're maybe not dying, who knows. But we'll do that anyway, because it'll make recording weird, and people later will be like, what the fuck was that sound? Like, what is that? So that's something that we can all look forward to, apparently, because my body hates me almost as much as my brain does.
I don't know the way, you don't know the way, we don't know the way out of this.
Out of This is kind of a song that's just it's the formula of a song. It's going through the motions of a song. I kind of had like the progression going. I tried to make a few riffs on it, but I didn't do a whole lot for riffs on top of it. I tried to get neat tones, but I don't feel like I got the neatest of tones. And the lyrics, they rhymed, and they kind of called back to the first ones in the like last verse, but they don't really seem to be saying much of anything. They're kind of just like random things, just kind of weird and out there. And they didn't really have any symbolism to me. So it was really just like, I was kind of, sort of exhausted. I was sort of mentally out of it, but I still, wanted to keep making music. I was working on an album, so I just made a song. A song happened, it came out of me, and this was it. And I don't know, like that's fine. But I wouldn't necessarily say that's good. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't say it's necessarily good just because a song happened out of it. It's okay. It's passable. It's a song. It's, at least as far as my standards, it's passable. I've done worse when I'm actually trying to do something better. So, there's at least that to it. It sounded kind of neat. I guess the clarinet and, like, bells together kind of have a neat sound. I don't remember if I even specifically did instrumentation, like, pick specific instruments for any of these songs when I did this, or if I just kind of was hovering around doing things with like the clarinet and like bells and stuff at the time. I just was liking those a lot, so I kind of used them. I guess we'll see more as this goes on what I did, but we'll see if that's a theme that emerges or just a coincidence. Maybe both. Who knows? Find out. Statue of the Space God is an instrumental that I just did the kind of common thing I do with a lot of these. It's a thing I do a lot just because it's easy just to have a thing play and just keep playing that. Then layer a thing and layer a thing, just keep layering things. And that's how I end up with like a big wall of sound going on. And so sometimes I do that just, when I make songs. I do that to make the templates for them, but they have all the layers kind of at once, so you don't notice as much. But when I do it this way, it's a way to kind of artificially elongate the song too, because you hear it with this, then you hear it with like the two things, and you hear it with like the three layers. Like you kind of keep, whatever, putting stuff on. So like, it's an okay way to do a song, I guess. It's fine. It just seems like kind of lazy that I repeat it a lot. But when I make so many songs, I'm bound to repeat certain structures and styles. It happens. And the idea is just sort of, it's just a statue of a space god, like some kind of weird intergalactic, like, almost like a space station type of thing, but it's just a big statue in space. And it's supposed to be of, like, I guess it could be, like, someone, like, Like, it's something that came from space, but it's a god. It could be something like that, like a Star Trek type of thing, or it could be like just a thing of like, no, this is like the god of space. Even though we go around and we're going through space and stuff, this is the god of all of that. They've created all of space. It's kind of open to interpretation. It's an instrumental. There's not a whole lot I can really dictate there, but it was just kind of a neat little concept, and it's also, I guess, faint. What do you call it? Subconscious jabbing at the whole religion thing of like, it's like, what if it was a space god? Like, I don't know. It's okay. It's got tones and riffs and stuff in it, and it is, I guess, a song, but nothing real spectacular or noteworthy. Again, it's a song. Boy, maybe I should have some type of motivation when making an album. Maybe I shouldn't just keep making it to make one. Maybe. There weren't like the bells and clarinets in here though, so maybe that theme isn't a theme. I don't know yet. It's too early to tell. Too early to count it in or out or shake it all about.
What's the deal with Sam? What's the deal with Sam? What's the deal with Sam? What's the deal with Sam?
What's the deal with Sam? Is the song about the from the show. It was written, I believe I did the show first, and then I ended up writing this song to be about the show. If you don't know, What's the Deal with Sam is my observational comedy show right here on YouTube, unless this is somewhere in the future where these are somehow exist but not on YouTube. But I had it on YouTube. It's probably wherever else I went to if I was there, right? So it'll be fine. But no, it's it was built off of a whole thing. I mean, that's a whole nother story, but it was basically built off of doing this weird like fake stand-up special thing. And so the first episode, he's using the joke that kind of sparked that whole bit, which was, what's the deal with golf? It's like baseball with the ground, because you're like hitting the so like I said a lot of like really lame jokes in that, and then the show is observational humor of just like kind of like looking at different things and ideas, and sometimes I'm actually upset about things. A lot of it's just things that you wouldn't actually be upset about. I'm just pretending to be upset about it or not understand it. So it's a little bit making fun of the observational humor thing, but also is actually doing it most of the time, and some of it's an act, some of it isn't. I'm not a great actor. So it kind of depends on the episode, and I've tried to do a bunch of different things with it, because at this point there's like, 500 some episodes, so I've been doing it a while. But you can hear the clips in here. It starts with me saying, what's the deal with golf, and then it like goes into the song, and then like, yeah, it was one where I had like the idea of like how I wanted it to go in my head of like singing it. And so I had like the guitar thing, like play that, and then I tried to build stuff around that so it would work. So that when I went to the part where I was actually singing it, it would work with that. And so like the first part is kind of going into me and my show, and then the second part, second verse is more going into like journal observing things and like kind of show some of my outlook being kind of bleak and like sad, I guess. So that was really that was most of the thing, I guess. It's just kind of about that, and I like the the cool like horn on it. Sounds like it's maybe a little cheesy, but I think it sounds good with it. It builds up. I like the overlapping, like the vocals. I think the harmonies ended up sounding pretty good at the end. There is the one part where you hear like the what's kind of got cut off because there was something in my throat, but I kept the take and I just like used that. So it was only like partially you couldn't hear it. So like I was like, whatever, I'll leave it. It's fine. And I ended up, I think I had like originally I sang the part too, because I knew how I kind of wanted the singing part to go, and I didn't want to lose that in my head. So like I sang that, and then like I used that like a cappella version for a bit on the show until I recorded this, and then this I started using in the themes. And so even now you can still hear the ending song is this, whereas I've gone back to the beginning song being the original intro opening thing. So that's a little bit of tidbits for you there. And that's actually one that's kind of interesting, and I still really like this one, actually. I think it's pretty good. And partially it's a little unfair because it's also referencing the show that I've enjoyed doing. So it's like, obviously, I did it, I've done the show, I like the show. It's obviously I'm going to be like, I like it. wow, super biased dude likes his own song. But like, as you've been hearing probably from a lot of these other ones, there's plenty of songs where I don't like them. So it's cool to actually still like something, this much for a song that I did. So, I mean, what's the deal with that? It's like a good song with the ground. Check out the show. Get me out of here! Is hopefully I was far enough away for that not to be insanely loud. Probably still insanely loud. Is instrumental. It was just, I guess, one of those. They're supposed to sound kind of intense, and a little bit scary. And it's like it's very tense and scary. It's like I gotta get there's that fight or flight thing. I gotta get the fuck out of this place. And that's mostly it. And I just really like the tones in it. I've got like I think the trem stands for tremolo. I'm almost positive. There's like trem, like electric piano, and then there's like the trem strings. So I used both of those because I wanted to have both the tremolo like things on them. I think they sound kind of cool. And so that's what I'm using for the main instruments. And I got like the xylophone on it or whatever. It's like, maybe it's not the xylophone, maybe it's a vibe. I don't know. Vibraphone, maybe? But I really, really like that on top of it. The tones, like with like the drums and like the way the bass, like electric piano thing is going with the drums. It sounds like really cool. I really like the tones in it. I think it comes together well. And then like the piano with the bell tone at the end. Really, really cool. Just a really cool instrumental, like shorter like thing to throw in there. It's cool. It's hard to say much more than it's cool, so I said it, you heard it, and you know what? It's okay if you want to say it too, especially to your friends, along with the link in the channel link, and be sure to tell them there's a subscribe button. Encourage them to hit it, but only once, because if they do it more than it unsubscribes, and then you have to keep track. You have to do it like an odd number of times. It's just a lot. Just help me out, would you? Just do me a favor. Just do me a solid.
Now you're all alone. Where has the madness gone? And now you're all alone. Where has the madness gone?
27 years is about being out of the war for like 27 years. There's not really a reference to anything specific for anything, like a specific war or anything. It's just a general concept. It fit the thing. It came into my head when I was playing the music in the song. And the idea is, it's like essentially that, there's something that's really important. It was really hard to get over, like the post-traumatic stress disorder thing, the shell shock, the remnants of being in the war. And then the idea that was actually something that was really important to you, that was actually driving a lot of you, and like it was a big part of you, and now that like you don't have that anymore, you're kind of lost. You just feel like empty and like alone because you don't even have that now, because you've like moved past it, you've let it go, and now what do you have? You don't have the same kind of the drive, same kind of passion or like emotion. You don't have the same kind of level of energy going on anymore because you're past that. And I really like the music in this. The singing didn't come off too well, but I thought the music in it and like the instruments sounded cool. Some of the parts that were pretty good. Like I think it's got and like with that organ like backing it up with some of the bassiness of it too. Like I don't know, like I think there's a good tones in there, a good mix of like stuff that's like really strong and stuff that's like kind of like smaller in there. It kind of gives little details to it. Overall, the sound of it I think is pretty good. I like it, and the solo is cool. Just kind of a weird idea, but there's not a whole lot more to it. Just that I kind of wish I sang it a little better. Not that I could have done amazingly better at it, but some of especially for like the verses, I feel like I could have had a bit better with the notes I wanted to hit and had more flair to it. But it's okay. It's still cool. It's still neat little song. There, I said, are you happy? Are you happy now? The button is still on my shirt, too. It hasn't fallen off yet. Can you even see that? I don't know. I don't fucking know anymore, dude.
I loved you then, I love you now, I love you every single day. How could you go and just walk out? How could you ever walk away?
I Loved You is where we jump into the whole relationship problems part. Apparently I shoved all these like near the end of the album. So get ready to look forward to the rest of that. This is one where it's like seems like things are kind of on the rocks a bit. Get that hair off of there. And like I don't know, this idea of like kind of still being like in love, but like feeling like the other person's leaving and feeling like it's like doesn't make sense, like it's unjustified, and it's kind of just feels like they don't love you anymore, that kind of thing, where it's like you're still like someone broke up with you essentially is what it kind of feels like, because I felt like things weren't working and I was like being kind of pushed out, that kind of idea. And these ideas for songs aren't really that unique, I think, because a lot of people have these kinds of feelings and whatnot, I guess. But the main thing here, I guess, that I like about this one is that it has some cool tones going together well. The neat, like, kind of like synth string kind of like tone thing, the guitar riff, like the piano on top of it, and the bass, they're all really good. They go well together, and I like that I didn't sing it crazy or anything. I sang it in a pretty simple kind of like softer voice. That's more akin to like almost the way I kind of like talk, but still hitting like the notes I wanted to hit for the most part. Some of the notes I fumbled on a little, but I think it came out really well because of all the things like kind of combined like that. And the solo thing, it's maybe like I lagged a little bit on some of it, but it's still, I think it went over pretty well. That's one I still really like. Always gives me a vague, especially like in the intro part with some of like the tones stop going over each other. Almost like a vague like Mario Kart-esque, like I think there's something like Toad's Turnpike and Mario Kart 64 has a similar sort of like almost like feel to some of like the tones in it, I guess, is kind of what I was thinking, but like it's not like it was based on this. It's just a loose like feeling because I relate everything to video games because that is all my brain thinks about, for the most part, and cute girls. And mostly those things. And porn. And porn.
You lied to me. You lied to me. You lied to me. You lied to me.
You Lied to Me is, like I said, more songs about the relationship issues. This one's rather specific. I'll spare you most of the details, but it was kind of like, dude she knew, which turned out to be he's kind of fucking nuts, needed help. Is probably the way you should say it, but due to certain events, I'm fine with just saying he's fucking nuts. But didn't know that quite yet. And she was having like bad time or whatever. And he tried to comfort her, and then like gave her like a ring, and then there was an awkward thing of like she didn't really know how to react to that. So she's like, okay, I guess. So she just had it, and like a gift thing, and that was upsetting to me. Because it seems like a very symbolic thing that shouldn't be happening. And so I handled it poorly, and then the reactions to that were poor. The song happened. I came out of a lot of this stuff, learning a lot more patience and understanding, I guess. That kind of helped me a lot with that, to be like, okay, I can't just get mad about things right away. I have to think about things more. Because I made lots of mistakes. But this song happened and it's out, and I'm not gonna pretend like the song didn't happen. I'm not gonna erase it from, history. because, I'll be very important in the history books and all. In fact, you'll remember the day, you're like, I was one of the very first people to watch this. Back for those first, 30 years when the video had only but 2 views, I was one of those views. And Sam was probably the other. Well, it helps your joke a lot if you stutter on, like, the punchline. It makes you funnier. Also, if your stomach keeps making weird noises while you're stuttering over your punchline, it makes you even funnier. So my point is, I'm masking a lot of the uncomfortableness of the song's subject matter with humor, because I'm funnier. See, you do it 3 times, and that's how you do it. That's how you joke in thirds. You say it the one time, you say it the other time, and then you say it a third time, and that's how you do thirds. And if you don't count on your fingers, how can you be sure you've done it in thirds? That's what I thought.
You don't love me. You don't love me. You don't love me. You don't love me now.
You Don't Love Me is another one of those about, kind of this idea of, I was left, kind of thought things were done, felt like that's the way things were going, that I wasn't loved. So it's kind of expressing that thing, and also the idea of, because I was basically kind of that, and I was also being told how I felt, even though it wasn't how I felt, so I was kind of, pushing some of that back, too, and that's not very mature of me to do, but, that's what I did in song form. On the internet in public. That was probably a big bad idea, but it happened. That's how you vent things, you get emotions out, you make songs. Sometimes, if you're someone who likes to do that and can do that and whatever. I mean, anyone can do that. It's not like I'm great at it, so you probably could too, because I did. I'm me. I'm this. I'm that. So I do like that there's a little bit of an effect on the voice, which helps my voice. Always helped my voice, pretty much. And I like that the solo that goes on actually comes back. And there's piano and other stuff going on that's doing more crazy stuff under it. But the main guitar part with it, I think is really cool. I think that sounds good. I liked it. It was a simple thing, but it had a lot of power to it. And it ends okay, but there's not a whole lot more to say about it other than, it was just an emotional thing I put out there, and it came out okay, and I maybe should have split these up instead of just ramming all of them at the end of the album, but hey, let's do another one, because there still is one.
So now you hate me. So now you hate me. So now you hate me too. So now you hate me. So now you hate me. Well, maybe I hate you.
So Now You Hate Me. The final song on the album, a thing of, I guess I believe my girlfriend said something to the effect of, I hate you. Was a thing that was said. I think I was throwing up some verbiage from certain texts mean things to we were fighting or something. I'm sure some of that made its way into the lyrics here. Just upset, and it's and you can see that too, so now you hate me. And also the line from the chorus thing is well, maybe I hate you. And the reason it was worded that way specifically too, I remember too, was I don't feel that. I don't really want to say that. But it's what if I did? So that was kind of riding that line of I wasn't actually saying it, but I couldn't quite full on say that, right? Because I didn't feel that. And the tempo is kind of all off because I freeballed it for the thing. The main riff and starting off and stuff too, it's based off of a riff that I've had for a long time. Actually, I had it back when I was doing tapes. I was looking for the song, but couldn't find the specific song. Not that it really matters, but the instrumental one. using that riff, and I think I also used it like in MTV Music Generator. I think I made a song with it there too. So I've liked the riff and everything, and the timing of that, and that. I always thought that riff was neat. But used it for making a song, and I was like, also I do like that the way my like lower like voice, the way I sang that with the overlapped high voice with an effect on the high voice, that came off pretty well. It made my voice sound better in it, so that's good. It's kind of a rough, mean way to end the album. But I was clearly upset, and obviously I wasn't too happy with myself at the time either. I called the album Ugly Fuck. That was a reference to me. So I wasn't in a great place, but it's okay. Things got worse. So and now they're fine. But we won't see me coming out of that for a while in the arc of albums here, I don't think. So that was all of Ugly Fuck, and yeah, there wasn't really a big theme. That was like there was just a lot of parts, like those things at the end were kind of all jammed in the end, and the first part of the album was more like a regular meme album, just kind of exhausted and dealing with other stuff, and it's okay, you know, like it's fine. It's a passable, it's a forgettable album that I've done for me, I think, but I've done so many, so hopefully it was kind of good, maybe interesting. I don't know. If there's anything else you want to know, you know, for stuff you're interested in, like certain things maybe I didn't bring up that you were interested about, or related or something about the songs, the album, or whatever, like leave that in the comments. Let me know. I'll try to answer that stuff. I always try to do that. Lately I've been getting bot comments on a lot of things, though. I didn't realize they were a big thing on YouTube, but they're cropping up on me now. So there's a lot of people leaving vague comments with lots of emoji that I'm pretty sure are fake, because it's the same like looking profiles doing it with the same vague comments and bunch of emoji. I'm also getting some of those what do you call them? Some of those where it's like, go to this timestamp, but then they just have something unrelated saying like there. One of them was like, I had a few of them where like, want you to go to a site. It's like, well, God, delete that. I don't want them having some weird hyperlink on this shit. Fuck, get that the fuck out of here. But then I had one that was something like that, and I was like, wow, this is great, or whatever. And it had a timestamp. It was like 30 minutes or something. I was like, this is like a 3-minute video. I'm pretty sure that's not real, what you're trying to do here. So those are just kind of funny, but those have been happening. So if if you get any of those, at least it means that something saw my video. I don't know if someone did, but something. And that's okay. So thanks for hanging out and listening and whatever, and like, dislike, comment, subscribe, unsubscribe, that do or don't comment. Those, you have the options. Do whatever suits you best. And maybe I'll see you next time. Maybe not. Leave that up to you. So the Ugly Fuck artwork here for the remaster is the same artwork. I just traced over it and saved it as a lossless file format. It was like a JPEG. I didn't know at the time they lose information. They get all blurry and shit. So I just went over it and saved it as a. I think these are actually saved as PNGs. I don't remember if it's a PNG or bitmap. But one of those, so it's like lossless, and yeah, it's just a weird face thing I drew. And it's like the eyes, and you say the eyes, and it's like things surrounding the eyes, and then it's like the super bushy eyebrow things. I guess they're kind of supposed to be almost like glasses around there, but almost not, because they're not really connected, so it could or could not be me. It's up to interpretation. I think I may have moved the text in. I may have redone the text and just moved that slightly in more. Or maybe it didn't have text originally. I guess I don't remember the original one if it had text or not, but it's just a weird face. It's supposed to kind of look ugly and weird, and I kind of rushed it in paint, and that's how we got this. And it's a little squigglier than it originally was, but it was already originally pretty squiggly anyways, so it just looks squigglier around the places because I was trying to trace an existing somewhat squiggly line for a lot of it. It was really, really interesting and all that, and that's God, these are just the best parts of every video, every about the albums is just, you get to the artwork part and it's like, oh, I can't wait to hear Sam sound bored while he talks about a shitty thing he slapped together in paint. What a fucking goddamn genius. I could take a shit with a higher IQ than this. All your love just died.